Good evening, friends. It is December the 14th, 2021, about 5:19 in the evening. And Michelle and I wanted to speak to you guys about being all in. What does all in mean? Inside of a marriage, inside of any kind of relationship.
Really, yeah.
Really.
Any of them.
But especially inside of a marriage, because
which is what we're focusing on.
That's what our focus is.
Correct.
In this God's 108 story.
Yeah. God's got to put us here lately.
Yep.
As far as
so
the discussion started yesterday about all in.
And it's been a struggle to be all in for us.
Oh, absolutely.
Because of our past that we've talked about in previous videos.
Mm-hmm.
We have had some big struggles in our bedroom area, that especially. The rest of our marriage is pretty much
it's awesome.
It's not anything I can even think of that there's an issue there.
No, not at all. It's just the overcoming the fears from past relationship, past sexual sin, past.
So that's where our focus is going to be on making this video.
Right.
Is all in your thoughts, in your actions,
even words.
Even words.
Even words.
Even before you even have a relationship, I feel like that, looking back, we would have been more prepared if we would have talked about my past and Michelle's past more.
And we did talk about
and we did talk about it,
right?
But
not in an in-depth.
But for the most part, neither one of us opened up to the other and got in depth about how much of a struggle and how closed the doors were in that area of our lives.
Because we disclosed, but there was no discussion as far as an in-depth kind of discussion.
Right. Of timelines of things and various...
And the amount of pain or hurt or
exactly.
struggle or what it could do to as far as us is concerned.
So this video is about being all in, and to me, all in is even before you say your marriage vows. Are you all in in your bedroom before you get married? Mm-hmm. Okay. That doesn't mean that I'm talking about sex before marriage. I am just talking about being all in any area about sex, whether you've done it at all or multiple different partners. It doesn't matter. That needs to be discussed, because the more we get into our relationship inside our bedroom, and that's where God has got us, oh my gosh, He's got us focused on that so much, and you go,
and it's a
really?
lot of areas to uncover.
How much more can be uncovered?
Well, and that was one thing I kept saying was the fact that I feel like every time we overcome one thing, it's like you find another layer of dirt and then we have to take over.
I don't find it. God does.
Well, he finds it and then you reveal it to me in a way. But anyways, it's still like a layer and then it's uncovered and it's another layer and it's uncovered and it's been a really
It's been a challenge. It's been a big challenge.
It has.
Uncovering some of this stuff. And some of it has just been by pure accident.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
You know, the last couple of things has just been going.
And then a couple of things have been to where I have even forgot about it until something was mentioned. And it's like, oh.
Absolutely.
Oh crap, I forgot all about that.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get to a place where you're, you keep forgetting, you keep wanting to forget the past, you kind of bury it. Therefore, you kind of bury it within you, and sometimes you forget things because you've pushed it so far down.
True.
And
very true.
Not good at all. Not good because it needs to be dealt with.
Well, it should be dealt with as an individual with you and or I with God alone, but because of the shame of doing things outside of a marriage or inside of a marriage, no matter where it is, especially in the bedroom area,
right?
Whether it be adultery, pornography, reading these steamy books,
whatever the case may be.
That
anything.
I know a lot of women do that. You've even said that you've done that.
Yeah, I have before. Didn't think about it in that way though. I didn't think about, but it does give you a visual, just like a pornographic
video or a magazine,
right? Would have done, but that's true. And I didn't think of it that way until yesterday.
Sorry, I've got a tickle in my throat all of a sudden. So, back to the all-in part. We were having a discussion yesterday about being all in. I can't remember in my first marriage, but my second marriage.
The discussion started with passing gas, by the way.
Yeah, and that's what I was about to say. It's like my second marriage for 10 years. When me and my second wife was married, I would pass gas. It's just a normal body function, to me, oops, sorry, that kind of thing. But my second wife, there was a time that she had salmonella one time in 10 years, and she passed gas in front of me, and that was the only time that I can recall of her passing gas. And wouldn't use a bathroom in front of me. It was just, that was really, really off limits. You even know someone right now that she had to get out of the bathroom, or he had to get out of the bathroom for one of them to take a shower.
Yeah. The husband was coming in or something, and she had to get back in the shower so he could go and use the bathroom, and I'm like,
had to get in the shower so that he could come and use the bathroom, and I'm going, that makes no logical sense. And this couple's been married how long?
Longer than us.
Well, I mean, they've got 2 daughters.
Well, yeah, but that's from previous marriages, though. But still, at least it's been over 10 years. Yeah.
Yeah, they've been married over 10 years.
Yeah, it's been over 10 years.
And you make your spouse get into the shower so they don't see you naked.
Either way, it's just weird. Sorry.
That's mind blowing to me.
So we had a discussion about the passing gas, and I know I have in front of my ex, but But if you remember, even before, when we first got married, I told you, and you were like, it's normal, just do it, And
Right.
because I was holding it in to the point where it would hurt my stomach because I didn't want to do it in front of you.
She's got some good ones too, by the way.
I know. Okay. So, anyways,
Truth hurts.
We're not going to talk about the other night, but anyways.
Okay.
So,
which other night?
What? Whole another video. He's trying to kill me. But I did not do it in front of him for, it was
a while.
It was a while after we were married.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really not sure why.
It's the newness of the relation of the marriage relationship and not knowing how
you gonna take it.
Right.
So been saying that, and that may seem kind of silly, but that's just one aspect. Okay, so the reason why we're saying that is because when you don't let it out and you're holding it in, it just begins to hurt and be very, very painful.
Sure.
And so we got in discussion about that part.
Like physically painful.
Physically pain. Yes, it's very physically painful.
Right.
So,
I can't do it, so
I'm
not going to try.
Well, I have, and it hurts. I mean, it really, really hurts.
Right.
So, that was the discussion about how we got on this topic, and
the all-in
topic, and then talking about if you don't let it out, and we're talking about, we're going to transition over to not the gas part, but telling your spouse about things that are your thoughts, your past, or whatever else may be, it becomes painful as well.
Right.
It becomes something that is between you two, and it's got to be discussed to get it out of the way, to not have that barrier between you.
Right. Right.
So it can build up, and it can become very painful, not just for the person that's keeping it in, but for the other person in the marriage, in the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how we got started on that topic.
Yeah. So, the whole passing gas thing, to me, I know it seems silly.
But it's a simple thing.
It's the uncomfortableness of one or both of the spouses not being all in with their other spouse in this silly little illustration that we're given here.
But it's also, people look at it as shameful.
Yeah.
Because of the smell or the sound or whatever else the case may be.
Yeah, I mean.
So that can be said for a past as well.
Sure.
It can stink, it can be gross, it can,
And it can be painful.
And it can be very painful, absolutely.
Whether it can be embarrassing, it can be every bit of, when you're dealing with what we've been dealing with, which is the past.
Sexual past, absolutely.
Past relationships that involved a whole array of different things, from pornography with me to, whatever.
Yeah.
With adultery or whatever.
Whatever the case may be, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. And all of that is very shameful and a very uncomfortable conversation.
Oh yeah.
There's not an easy way to start a conversation about any of that.
No, there's not. But
it still needs to be had so that there's meshing going on
and not division.
And not division, because Satan is going to use any and all of that to destroy the marriage that God has put together.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And And that's what he's done with us is, I mean, it's been brutal. I mean, it's honestly been brutal.
My fault. I will take responsibility for all of it. But and I say that, it's because when things are uncovered, as shameful as some of these things have been, I have never had a discussion with anybody, and I've never, of course, never had the relationship or the marriage that you and I have.
Right.
So, I know that this is of God. There's no doubt in my mind or our minds or anything else. We know that God put us together.
Right.
So, in looking at it, and covering a part of my past is very shameful. And sometimes
it's torturous.
I have a very, very hard time revealing part of my past because of how shameful it is and how painful it was or whatever the case may be. So I'm not sure how to react. And a lot of it lately has just been in anger.
Well, and you don't know how I'm going to react.
Right. So I'm very unsure about a lot of things. I know what I dealt with. I know how it affected me, but I don't know how it's going to affect us or how you're going to react to it.
Right.
And I will tell you this, he has been very, very gracious and understanding, and I could not ask for a more understanding husband at all. He's been awesome through the whole thing, and I have not been pleasant to deal with at all. But it's been very hard, and Satan has, and as soon as the words are spoken, it's like Satan jumps on me and uses it, and he just takes over because it is a very hard thing to deal with. So he takes the reins and just runs with it.
Right, and what's happened here lately is you've lashed out in anger at me.
That's all I've been. I mean, it's been very angry. I mean, I don't want it to be uncovered. It's very, very shameful. It's a painful, some of these are painful memories.
Right.
Very painful things to deal with.
Right.
And I don't want something to be uncovered and then have my husband look at me, differently or in a shameful way or whatever else the case may be.
Or want to leave. Or
exactly.
And never come back.
Right. So it's
and that's what Satan has been putting in your head.
Right.
Is when he hears this, he's done. He's gone.
He's gone.
And and guys, there's nothing that she has told me that has alarmed me. He's
not saying that in an aspect of I just like alarming. When you said that, I thought, it's not that it's alarming because, she's done this, so why wouldn't she do this? It was the fact that it has alarmed him to the fact that it's nothing that he's gonna walk away from.
It hasn't alarmed me, like you're saying. It hasn't made me go, well, I'm done.
Yeah.
Because
everything we're talking about is before him. This has all been before you, and it would be a whole different situation, like we've discussed, if it was during our relationship or during our marriage.
And that's a whole
different aspect. We're talking about thing. Bringing in past sexual
baggage of
all the baggage, yeah.
And it's not just the bedroom, but our focus is on the bedroom because that's where our struggle is.
Absolutely.
But any kind of baggage, needs to be dealt with, in an all-in type manner. The same thing with the bedroom stuff.
Absolutely.
Still needs to be dealt with the same way.
And see, lately, when I've had a thought or desire, I am just enthusiastic about my thoughts and desires. But the mention of him saying anything, it's like...
Oh, yeah. Whenever she's wanting to do something in our bedroom, it's like, yeah! But when I have thought of something,
made a suggestion,
or suggestion, it's like, no! You know, totally different reaction. You know, and it's like, what the crap? That's not right.
So here is what I've discussed with him lately. Kind of give you that thought of that part is the fact that like I told him the other day, I wanted to get away from who I was. I don't want to ever be that person again. To even think about who I was makes me literally sick to my stomach. That's
and it should.
And exactly, and that's the part because it's a sin, and every time I'm not doing something, I can just feel God convicted me, and it just makes me sick. So the thought of being that person again, it makes me physically sick.
But you, when you had sex during this time period, you did it for a reason. What was the reason why you did it?
The majority of the reason is because I wanted somebody to be there. I wanted a companion. I wanted to feel
loved.
I wanted to feel wanted and loved. Yes, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
But when
it was a negative way that I got it though.
Yeah, and you manipulated people to get what you wanted in some circumstances.
To have that person near me, yes, and they got what they wanted in return as well.
Right.
So we were both manipulated and used. I wanted somebody to be there and feel wanted, and you know.
And now you're in a godly marriage.
Totally different.
And you have the "I love you" moments.
Oh yeah, I have those all the time.
You have those.
I have those.
But the shame of what happened prior to us has just totally almost wrecked our bedroom at times.
Oh, at times, absolutely. So here's the thought process of why I said that is because I didn't want to be that person at all. I mean, I don't even want to think about being that person again, any part of who I was. And like I told him, I was so focused of being the opposite of that.
And one of the things that
I went completely in the other direction to where my enthusiasm was even gone in even a lot of the things that we did because, you know, I was afraid that if I was enthusiastic or if I was any part of either any feeling I had or any act that I did or, you know, was a part of, anything to deal with that, even with my enthusiasm of being engaged in a sexual act, you know, was gone.
Right.
Because I was trying to turn so far from who I was, but even my enthusiasm was gone. I mean, it was just, it scared me that much. I didn't want to be that person at all anymore. So I did from one direction all the way.
Right. And when I have said, Michelle, what do you want to do in the bedroom? What do you think about? What turns you on?
Does this excite you?
What excites you?
Yeah.
And it's like, nothing. Absolutely nothing.
And he's not lying. He's not lying.
I don't think about anything. He's not lying. How is that possible?
I turned so far in that opposite direction to get away from that. I lost not only the the thoughts about the past, but even the enthusiasm and joy that goes with it. Right. And that's the part, and then the desire,
right?
Which it made us struggle because I didn't have that because I was so just I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want that.
And it limited us, or has limited us.
Yes, very much
in
so.
our bedroom,
and what we can enjoy, what we can't enjoy, or
what you can do.
Yeah.
Even outside the bedroom, even flirting.
Texting, flirt, yeah. In public, or you just kind of playfulness.
Playfulness, and
it's just been.
It's been almost nothing. And I have to say that she has worked on this.
Yeah, to the point where he was asking me, who is this woman that's texting me today?
I did. I was like, who is this woman? I want to see proof that this is my wife. because this doesn't sound like my wife sending me these text messages. And I was like, ooh, I like this. Which is good. Which means
because that's what we should be able to do, is enjoy each other, not even when we're with each other, but away from each other as well. And that's something I haven't allowed, to happen because of the fear of all of my past. I haven't been able to enjoy the playfulness,
guys, I know that this is a touchy subject for many, many, many couples.
But it's an intimacy part of the marriage, though.
Yeah, but it's a very touchy subject, even with an ungodly couple. But when you're dealing with a godly couple and you're doing the things that you're supposed to do as a godly couple, if you read the Song of Solomon book, it's about the courting of a husband and a wife, and there's so many things that you can do inside your bedroom, but because of what we engage in either before marriage or during marriage or after a divorce,
or even what we're taught as kids,
or even what you're taught as kids, because there's extremes,
This is bad. This is bad. Don't do this.
Don't. I heard today. I was listening to something today, and the mother of this bride was trying to give her a sex talk on her wedding day, and you go, what? Yeah. I'm like going, no, that should be done way prior to.
Right.
And not allow somebody else to interject.
Right.
What should be taught there. But another subject for another day. But, guys, when you're all in as a couple, to me, all in means nothing hidden. Transparency on every level of your marriage, no matter if
the good,
it's
bad, the ugly.
If it's passing gas.
Yeah. But I will say this, I like I said earlier, I couldn't have asked for a better husband to uncover these yucky stuff with. But
it's been bad, guys.
It's But at the same time, if you're the one that has the stuff to be uncovered, don't do like I did and just get angry. But be willing to talk about it. It may be hard, but on the other side, it's good to have somebody that is there to listen. So if you're on the receiving side of it and you're hearing all this stuff, don't automatically judge. Don't jump to conclusions. Let the person tell you the feelings and whatever details they want to tell you. And if it was before you, then be very understanding and gracious with. Be very kind.
And let's say this. Anytime that you're dealing with one another's past, especially in the bedroom stuff, finding out or knowing what Michelle has done before me should only be done for a specific reason, to know how to help Michelle, for me to be able to help Michelle heal from those wounds.
Not to be used against somebody.
It cannot be used in a negative way at all. No. Whatever Michelle tells me or whatever I tell her, we cannot, if we're going to stay and be all in as a couple.
But not only that, just in order to stay together and be able to do God's will. We cannot.
If you do it one single time of one of us disclosing something of a pain from the past, whether it's in the bedroom or not, the trust is broken.
Right.
And then everything is shut back down.
Right.
It's immediately shut back down. And you have to try to rebuild that trust in whatever area it is. So be very, very careful whenever your spouse tells you, or potential spouse tells you something.
I mean, they're trusting you. They're really...
They're being extremely vulnerable.
Absolutely. And they're trusting you with a whole lot.
And you got to use that only in a godly way. The minute you step outside and try to use that against them...
And manipulate the situation.
To gain an advantage in the bedroom or outside the bedroom, or you told me this, so you got to do this for me.
Yeah, no.
You can't do that.
No.
You know,
not at all.
It is only to heal the wounds that have been left open and haven't been dealt with properly.
Right.
If they haven't been, they may have been dealt with properly already.
Possibly.
But
if a person's convicted about telling their spouse about something about their past and it has nothing to do with that marriage, then they need to be very, very gracious in receiving what the person is feeling convicted to tell them.
Absolutely.
You know, and even if the person, like we've experienced, there have been things that he has said, and it's kind of triggered a memory, and it's like, oh, I forgot all about that, you know, and then deal with it then. So there are those cases where if something's been happening and it's been buried for so long, you know, it may be a forgotten, and it's like crap.
but you have to learn how to deal with each individual situation as they come up, and you handle them in a very gentle way.
Because it is a very gentle subject.
Oh, absolutely. It's a very touchy subject that most couples won't even go into. And, you know, we wonder why almost 50% of Christian couples end in divorce, you know. And I believe it starts not only because each individual inside the marriage doesn't have a real relationship with God, but because of this type of baggage or any other baggage. It could be financial or kids or whatever it is. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's not talked about, you know, or handled in the wrong way.
Right.
You know, we have a huge book to learn how God thinks about things. And it is for us as a man and a woman to be able to understand, to read it and understand it, and be able to learn how God wants us to deal with certain things within our lives. You know, so I think that's about all I've got to say about being all in. But I encourage you guys to sit down and talk with your spouse, and even though that it will be a struggle.
And there may be times that you need to say a few things and just walk away and part ways and kind of give your time.
If it starts getting heated,
just
for sure.
walk away, you know, just gather your thoughts, you know, sit at the feet of God and just ask Him how you need to continue on moving forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Don't leave God out of it. He should be our main focus for sure.
And a lot of this that's coming up in our bedroom is God is the driving force, guys.
No, He is. Pushing. I mean, He's pushing down.
He's pushing some buttons on my end and her end, and we're going, really? Really?
Is this really what you want? I mean, is this what you want us to do?
But when when he says it over and over and over and over
And
and
he
over,
has.
and you go,
okay.
Okay. But
how we do this?
but we're dealing with it from what we see as God's perspective. He wants us to be like Adam and Eve was in the garden with God. He wants us to be naked and unafraid of anything that comes along in our lives, in our marriage, and be able to take it to God or listen to God and just go, okay, God, this is what we're dealing with. Help us get through this.
Yeah.
And
then you make a good point on Adam and Eve, because when he created Adam and Eve, they walked in the garden, like you said, naked and unafraid and unashamed. They were not ashamed.
Right.
So within a marriage, is if he puts in the marriage two people together, that's what he's trying to get us to, is back to where Adam and Eve were in the garden, and they were naked and unafraid and not ashamed of it.
Right.
And that's where God wants us to be.
Mm-hmm.
Why not? Be that with your spouse.
Yeah.
Why not be naked and unashamed with your spouse? That's the person that God puts you with to be that with.
Well, you should be naked and unafraid and unashamed of anything when you get married, but because of
whatever the case may be,
phones or internet or past experiences,
it doesn't matter. Or even what the world teaches.
It puts us into a disadvantage because we have so much technology now. You know, we can't be naked and unafraid to start a marriage off with. We're typically going to be dealing with some kind of baggage.
Yep.
And everything that we're talking about here is to try to get back to zero.
Trying to get back to the garden where our Adam and Eve were. To get back
to zero so that you can have that godly marriage that God created for a man and a woman to have together and experience it.
And one thing I will point out right now is the fact that, the past, my past his past, our past, whatever the past may be, have built walls between them. What we're trying to do is break down the walls to rebuild them the right way. Than the way God wants us to build them, because if we continue to have those barriers between us and not have them rebuilt the right way, then it could potentially destroy the marriage.
Yeah, it's a good chance it will destroy even the godliest marriages.
Right. If they're not dealt with
absolutely
in the correct way.
Even. There's been people that have been married for 30, 40, 50 years, and all of a sudden they get divorced, and you go, what happened? And I have just this thought right now. They didn't deal with something. One of them didn't deal with something or talk about something like they should have for that to go awry. Yeah. That far into being with the other person. Yeah. Something wasn't talked about.
Something was buried and wasn't. The thing about being pushed under the rug, which is what happened in my previous marriage, that stuff got pushed under the rug. You're still building up that stuff under that rug. You're eventually going to keep tripping over it. You're going to trip over every time you try to walk.
Well, it's going to become a mountain.
It's a stumbling block.
Yeah. And it just becomes a mountain, and you can't. Eventually,
there's no maneuvering around it.
There's not enough time in the day to go around that sucker.
There's not at all.
Or over it, and it becomes a total barrier between you and your spouse.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely,
we're trying to keep everything
leveled out.
Yeah,
he's gonna level out the highways.
In this video, that's the whole point: is remove the rug, basically.
Yeah. And uncover, disclose. uncover everything just to
get rid of the trash.
so y'all could both flip it out together.
You know, sometimes it's okay to do it slowly, depending on what the subject is.
Depending on what it is.
But sometimes
you just got to get in there and clean it all out.
It's called word vomit. You just get it out there. You just got to
get it out.
And let's get through it.
Yep.
So.
Absolutely.
Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and hope it was a little bit of entertainment and got some
encouragement.
Got some knowledge out of it on how to deal with being all in with your spouse. So, all right. I think that's all, guys. See you on the next video.